Welcome back to Smart Garden. August in the garden is basically a psychological thriller. One day you're proudly staring at your tomato jungle like a proud plant parent, and the very next morning it looks like a scene from a post-apocalyptic movie. Late blight shows up uninvited, tomatoes start cracking like they've had a midlife crisis, and you're left wondering why you sacrificed your entire summer for a salad. If you're currently treating your greenhouse like a high-security bunker, or pouring baking soda on your soil because a random TikTok video told you to, please step away from the plants. Today, we're breaking down 20 fatal August tomato mistakes that are silently ruining your harvest. From viral internet myths to sneaky pruning traps, let's fix them together, save your crop, and actually enjoy the fruits of your labor. Hit that subscribe button, grab your secateurs, and let's get smart about gardening. Error number 1. Viral DIY hacks and kitchen myths, baking soda and yeast. Let's start with the internet's favorite circus, kitchen cupboard farming. Someone on TikTok told you that dumping baking soda under your tomato plant will make it taste like cotton candy, or that yeast will turn your fruits into bowling balls overnight. Please, stop turning your garden into a baking experiment. Baking soda is sodium bicarbonate. It ruins soil structure, jacks up the pH, and burns delicate root systems. Yeast in cold August soil? Absolutely useless, except it eats up all the remaining potassium your tomatoes desperately need right now. Save the yeast for sourdough and the soda for cleaning your sink. Your plants need proper potassium, not a pantry recipe. Error number 2. The greenhouse bunker trap, condensation nightmare. Picture this. The evening temperature drops to 50 degrees Fahrenheit, 10 degrees Celsius, and you panic. You sprint outside and lock your greenhouse tighter than a nuclear fallout shelter. Congratulations, you've just built a 5-star spa for fungal spores. When you seal every vent, the moisture evaporating from the soil turns into heavy roof condensation that rains down on your leaves all night long. Cold water plus stagnant air plus high humidity equals late blight paradise. Unless it's freezing outside, leave those vents open for cross-ventilation. A cool, breezy tomato leaf will survive the night. A soaked, suffocated leaf will be dead by Tuesday. Error number 3. Leaving vine-ripened tomatoes too long. The holy grail of Instagram gardening. Waiting for the tomato to become a perfectly uniform, glowing ruby red orb right on the branch. It looks gorgeous in photos, but biologically, it's a disaster. A fully colored tomato on the vine turns into an absolute energy vampire. It actively slows down the ripening of every single tomato sitting above it on the cluster. Worse, every extra night it hangs there in late summer, its risk of cracking or catching late blight goes up exponentially. Pick your tomatoes at the breaker stage, when they just start turning blush pink. They'll ripen perfectly on your counter without draining the mother plant. Error number 4. Kitchen storage disasters, direct sun and fridge trap. So you picked your tomatoes early. Good job. Now, where do you put them? Mistake number 1. Placing green tomatoes on a sunny windowsill. Direct sunlight literally bakes them, turns the skin into leather, and makes them rot. Mistake number 2. Shoving them into the refrigerator for safekeeping. At temperatures below 50 degrees Fahrenheit, 10 degrees Celsius, the flavor compounds and sugars inside a tomato permanently break down. You end up with a sad, mealy, cardboard-flavored sphere. Store your unripened tomatoes in a dry, shaded room at room temperature. Want to speed things up? Throw a ripe banana or apple into the box. Nature's ethylene gas will do the magic. Error number 5. Waiting for late blight symptoms before action. The ultimate gardening delusion. My leaves look totally green and healthy. Why should I spray anything? I'll just wait until I see the first tiny brown spot. Spoiler alert. By the time you actually see that first brown spot, the fungus has already moved in, signed a lease, and thrown a party across your entire crop. Late blight isn't a polite guest that knocks on the front door. It's a silent thief in the night. August fogs and cold morning dews are its green light. You don't fight blight reactively, you fight it preventatively, with biofungicides like Bacillus subtilis or Trichoderma every 5 to 7 days. Once you see the spots, you're just writing a eulogy. If this video just saved your tomatoes from turning into a sad kitchen experiment, go ahead and smash that like button. It takes 1 second, costs $0, and keeps the YouTube algorithm from hiding our channel in the dark corners of the internet. Drop a comment below and tell me, which of these 5 traps have you already fallen into this summer? Be honest, we've all been there. And don't forget to hit subscribe on Smart Garden so you don't miss part 2, where we tackle the next batch of fatal mistakes and save the rest of your harvest. Subscribe now, and let's keep those plants alive. Error number 6, nitrogen overdose in late season. Now, let's talk about feeding habits. You walk into your garden in August, see a tired-looking plant and think, oh, it needs a boost. Let me pour some fresh grass tea or manure tea under it. Please, stop. Feeding nitrogen in late summer is like giving a toddler a double espresso right before bedtime. The plant gets confused, screams, "Spring is back!" and starts aggressively pumping out lush green leaves instead of ripening its fruit. You end up with an absolute jungle of foliage and a bunch of rock-hard, pale green tomatoes that refuse to turn red. Cut out nitrogen completely in August. Switch to potassium and phosphorus, like monopotassium phosphate or wood ash, to push all that sugar straight into the fruit. Error number 7, skipping indeterminate topping. Next up is letting your tall, indeterminate tomato varieties reach for the stars. By mid-August, these plants want to break through the roof of your greenhouse and colonize Mars. But here's the cold, hard truth. Any new growth at the very top of a 6-foot vine right now is completely useless. The plant is wasting massive amounts of water and nutrients trying to build a penthouse suite, while the heavy tomatoes on the lower branches are starved for resources. Grab your pruning shears in early August and snip off the main growing tips, a process called topping. Leave 2 or 3 leaves above the highest formed cluster, and tell your plant that its vertical climbing career is officially over. Error number 8, ignoring late-stage calcium. Here's a tragic story that happens every late summer. You check your top clusters, and the biggest, most beautiful tomatoes have sunken, black, leathery bottoms. Welcome to blossom end rot. Gardener panic kicks in. But I put calcium in the soil back in May. Yes, you did. But August weather is a nightmare for calcium transport. Cold nights, uneven watering, or dry soil completely block the roots from absorbing calcium, even if the dirt is full of it. Since the roots are slacking off, you need to deliver it directly to the leaves. A foliage spray with calcium chelate or calcium nitrate once every 10 days will save your top clusters from ending up in the trash bin. Error number 9, saving seeds from F1 hybrids. Picture this. You harvest the most gorgeous, perfectly symmetrical, mouth-watering tomato from your vine. You're so impressed that you carefully scoop out the seeds, dry them on a paper towel, and dream about planting them next year to save a few bucks. Then next season comes, and the plant produces weird, sour, marble-sized tomatoes with skin like leather. What happened? You saved seeds from an F1 hybrid. Hybrids are a one-time genetic masterpiece. Their offspring regress into a genetic lottery where you almost always lose. If you want to save seeds year after year, make sure the seed packet explicitly says heirloom or open-pollinated, not F1. Error number 10, keeping late August blossoms. And finally, error number 10, emotional attachment to August flowers. You see those cute, bright yellow blossoms popping up on top of the vine, and your heart melts. Look, it wants to give me more food. No, it doesn't. It's a trap. From a yellow flower to a ripe, juicy tomato, you need at least 45 to 50 days of warm sunshine. In late August, those new blossoms are nothing more than energy parasites. They are stealing potassium and water from the tomatoes that are already hanging on the vine, just to produce tiny green marbles that will get frozen in September. Be ruthless, channel your inner villain, and snip off all new flower clusters immediately. Error number 11. Fresh grass, mulching, and cold nights. Mulching with fresh grass clippings was fantastic back in June, but doing it in late August is a recipe for disaster. When night temperatures drop, a thick layer of damp, green lawn clippings turns into a soggy, fermenting blanket. Instead of protecting your plants, it traps moisture right against the stem, creating a high-humidity incubator for mold, botrytis, and stem rot. You think you're giving your tomatoes a cozy duvet, but you're actually building them a humid swamp coffin. In late summer, keep fresh lawn grass out of the greenhouse. Pull old mulch back 2 to 3 inches from the main stem, so the root collar stays completely dry and well ventilated. Error number 12. Irregular watering cycles, feast or famine. Here's a classic weekend gardener trap. You leave your tomatoes in bone-dry, cracked soil all week while you're busy at work. Then Saturday arrives, you see your plants drooping, panic, and flood the bed with 5 gallons of water. What happens next? The thirsty roots aggressively guzzle up the moisture. The inner pulp expands way faster than the outer skin can stretch, and boom, your beautiful, ripening tomatoes split wide open right on the vine. Those cracks are open doors for fruit flies and mold. Keep watering light, moderate, and strictly consistent. If the soil gets super dry, rehydrate it gradually over 2 days instead of drowning it all at once. Error number 13. Aggressive defoliation. The palm tree look. You read one article about preventing blight and suddenly go wild with the pruning shears, stripping every single leaf off the vine in 20 minutes. Now your tomato plant looks like a sad, naked palm tree with a tiny tuft of green at the very top. Huge mistake. Leaves are the solar panels that manufacture sugars for sweet, flavorful fruit. Stripping them all at once shocks the plant and halts growth. Worse yet, without a leaf canopy to shade the fruit, any sudden hot afternoon will literally bake your tomatoes, causing white, leathery, sun-scald patches. Prune gently. Remove no more than 2 to 3 leaves per plant a week, uncovering only the space below fully formed clusters. Error number 14. Late evening cold overhead watering. Picture this. It's 8 p.m., the sun is setting, and you head out to spray cold water straight from the hose all over your tomato leaves to freshen them up. In August, this is a death sentence for your garden. As night temperatures drop to 50 degrees Fahrenheit, 10 degrees Celsius, those water droplets sit on the foliage for 8 straight hours without evaporating. You've just handed powdery mildew, leaf mold, and late blight an all-inclusive ticket to destroy your crop. Always water strictly at the root level. Use warm or sun-heated water, and do it in the morning so the soil surface and leaves have all day to dry out before nightfall. Error number 15. Ignoring late-season pests. By late August, it's tempting to throw your hands up and say, the season is almost over anyway. Let the bugs have at it. Big mistake. Spider mites can drain the remaining life out of your canopy in less than 48 hours, causing leaves to yellow and drop before the fruit even ripens. Meanwhile, armyworms and hornworms are secretly chewing holes straight into your finest, almost ripe tomatoes, letting rot settle inside. You don't need harsh chemicals close to harvest. Just grab organic bioinsecticides like Bacillus thuringiensis or insecticidal soap with 0 harvest wait time. Protect the finish line. Look at us. We've survived viral TikTok hacks, escaped the cold evening watering traps, and stopped turning our plants into naked palm trees. We're officially in the home stretch of saving this harvest. But don't relax just yet, because the way you harvest, store, and clean up your garden at the end of the season can still ruin months of hard work in a matter of days. Let's dive into the final 5 traps so you can actually eat these tomatoes. Error number 16. Ignoring late sucker removal, sucker overgrowth. By late summer, it's super tempting to say, "It's almost September, I'm done pinching suckers." Big mistake. Late season suckers grow at absolute lightning speed, turning your neat greenhouse into an impassable jungle in less than a week. These greedy side shoots consume massive amounts of water and sugars that should be going straight into fattening your existing tomatoes. Worse yet, they choke off all ventilation, creating stagnant air pockets where fungal spores love to breed. Keep those pruning fingers active until the very end. Snip off every new side shoot weekly so the air keeps flowing and every remaining tomato gets its fair share of sunshine. Error number 17. Yanking fruit off the vine without shears. You walk into the garden, see a gorgeous ripe tomato, get lazy to look for your pruners, and just yank and twist until it tears off. Sound familiar? Here's what actually happens. You rip the skin around the stem, snap neighboring branches, and leave a jagged, open wound on the fruit. When you place that tomato in storage, bacteria and gray mold instantly invade that open tear. Within 48 hours, your prized tomato turns into a mushy, leaking mess and infects everything around it. Treat harvesting like surgery. Always use sharp pruners or scissors to snip the fruit cleanly, leaving a tiny stem stub. Error number 18. Harvesting wet fruit in morning dew or rain. Picture a romantic, foggy 6 a.m. morning. You walk out in your bathrobe, collect a basket of glistening, dew-covered tomatoes, and bring them inside. It looks poetic, but scientifically, it's a storage nightmare. Wet fruit stems and damp skin are prime targets for fungal spores. When you stack wet tomatoes in a box, moisture gets trapped in the gaps, leading to rapid decay during storage. Always harvest your crop on a dry, sunny afternoon, once the morning dew has completely evaporated and the canopy is bone dry. Your stored tomatoes will last weeks longer. Error number 19. Leaving diseased leaves and fruit on the ground. Error 19 is a huge sanitation failure. You prune off a blight-speckled leaf or pull off a rotten, half-eaten tomato and just toss it onto the soil between the rows, thinking, it'll dry out and turn into mulch. That's not mulch, that's a biological landmine. Every time you water or a breeze sweeps through the greenhouse, millions of fungal spores launch right off that decaying debris and land on your healthy top clusters. Throwing infected fruit into an unheated compost pile is just as bad. Always bag up diseased debris immediately and throw it far away from your garden plot. Error number 20. Leaving crop residue in greenhouse over winter. And finally, the ultimate setup for next year's disaster. Picking your last tomato, sighing with relief, and leaving dead, semi-dry vines hanging in the greenhouse until spring. I'll clean it up when the snow melts. Bad news. Over the winter, late blight spores, spider mite eggs, and whiteflies happily hibernate inside those dead stems and soil cracks. Come May, when you plant your fresh, delicate seedlings, you're dropping them straight into a pre-infected trap. As soon as the harvest is done, pull those vines up by the roots, scrub down the structure, and sow cover crops like mustard or phacelia to sanitize the soil for next season. And that is how you actually cross the August finish line without losing your sanity, or your entire crop, to internet myths and rookie mistakes. Look, gardening isn't about working miracles with a box of baking soda. It's about not sabotaging your own hard work at the last second. If your plants survive this video, consider yourself officially promoted from panicking plant parent to a smart gardener. Now, I want to hear the truth in the comments. How many of these 20 traps did you fall for before watching this? No judgment here. We've all accidentally built a greenhouse swamp at some point. If you want to keep your soil alive and bleach-free for next year, hit that subscribe button right now. In the very next video, we're taking a shovel to the greenhouse floor to show you the ultimate cover crop routine that obliterates soil-borne diseases over the winter while you sleep. Put down the kitchen spices, grab your pruners, and go save your tomatoes. See you next time on Smart Garden.